Welcome to Uncaged from talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure as always to be in your company, and a pleasure to be in the company of this gentleman, the one and only Mr. Brendan Loughnane, who's not too far away from fighting himself. We're going to get a little preview because he's about to jump on a plane, jet across halfway across the world to cause some damage. We'll get to that in a minute though, because there's plenty to talk about on today's show. Before we get stuck into that, please subscribe to us here on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. Dead simple to do. Just hit the button, like, subscribe, comment, get involved, tell your mates if they like MMA. We cover the lot, from the UFC to the PFL. Bellator even features on the show this weekend because they're back in Dublin. And we're going to be speaking to a young man making his way in his career. Not quite pro yet, but he will be turning over pro, we are told, at some point later on this year. Nate the Great Kelly will be on the programme. First though, mate, since we last spoke, geez, schedule changes, fighters out of fights, new opponents coming in, fighters announcing fights. It's all gone off in the last 7 days.
Tell you what, it's all been happening, and I don't know how they're going to limit this one to 30 minutes, mate, because we could go on forever on this one, couldn't we, Adam?
We'll start with the big man, right? Because, yes, we're going to talk about Adesanya Dricus du Plessis for 305. Dead excited about that. Yes, we're going to talk about Robert Whittaker getting a new opponent, Hamzat Chimaev, out of his fight. But we're starting, of course, with the main event at UFC 303. It was Conor McGregor's return against Michael Chandler. We are told now that that is not to be. Conor McGregor out of the fight. An injury, which is pushing his return back. No confirmed date as to when that return will happen. But we do know that he won't be fighting International Fight Week. Alex Pereira, 2 weeks notice, sticks his hand in the sky. Yeah, go on then, we'll go again, as does Jiri Prochazka. Fantastic main event, we'll get to that in a minute. But real disappointing that Notorious won't be making the walk, mate, in Las Vegas.
Fighter, Alex Pereira, mate. Wow, he's just sat on the end of the phone. He was in Australia, I believe, is that right? He was chilling in Australia, mate, and gets the call and goes, of course I'm in. Like, I'm in. What a guy, man. What a company, man. Unfortunate with Conor. You know, I still hope we get to see that fight, but I just wanted to start by that gangster, Alex Pereira, mate. What a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. From a Conor point of view, I'll say this. It must be serious. For him to pull out of a fight, for him not to make the walk, when he puts his name on the dotted line and he says, listen, man, that's the date. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'll see you there, no matter what happens. And don't forget, this is a fella that knew that he had a cracked bone in his shin when he was making the walk for Dustin Poirier part 3. Coming off the back of a loss. He got beat in that second fight and he was going into that fight off the back of a loss, a big fight for him, and he knew he was injured. And it's happened on several occasions previously in his career. And if we're dead honest, Bren, none of us know anything about this if there isn't a Dublin press conference. Because the Dublin press conference gets pulled, then all of a sudden, it all goes off. Who knows what would have happened? Would he have kept it under wraps? Would he have tried to push it right up until the last minute? Maybe, who knows? But it must be serious for him not to fight.
Yeah, well, listen, we was touching on this leading up to this, and the main point is, Conor, this is, I believe, the first time he ever has pulled out. And
in the UFC, yeah.
It's very, very well documented, the injuries and stuff that he's gone into previously into fights. So this has to be something very serious. From my experience as a fighter, the press conference was cancelled. He's picked up something. Right, let's try and shake this one off. Not been able to shake it off. Trying to take it to the wire. Too much of a big fight to leave it more than 2 weeks. You know, they have to get another main eventer in there. I think they've definitely pushed it as far as they could. And whatever it is, speed the recovery to the Notorious, because the game needs it right now, Adam. It does.
Yeah. Listen, the game is a far better game when Conor McGregor is involved in it. Yes. Yeah. All right. We all appreciate what happened in 2015, 2016 when that star rose and he brought so many eyeballs to the sport. And I think every single fan will conclude that that version of Conor McGregor is probably that version of Conor McGregor. There's a different version that we're dealing with right now, but he's still got it. He's still Conor McGregor, and he still absolutely brings the casual eyeballs to our sport, which enables the sport to grow. And it's a better place with him in there. Like you've just said, speedy recovery. I want to see him fight. It's a tough one because he's getting on. He's 36 in 2 weeks, I think it is. In July, he turns 36. This would have been the first camp that he would have done since that leg break. We don't know how everything's healed there with the leg break from the Poirier fight. I mean, that's a serious leg break. We've seen fighters in the past, the likes of the Chris Weidmans of this world, attempt to come back from those type of serious injuries. It's a proper injury. Let's just pump the brakes, because as he says in his statement, we all want to see him back. When I say 100%, you want as close to 100% as possible. No fighter really walks into the octagon, do they, at 100%, mate? But as close to 100% as possible.
Can I just throw one at you, right? If you are Michael Chandler right now, Adam, what do you do? Do you continue to wait? Do you take someone else? What do you do?
It's a tough one, because his last fight was in November 22 against Dustin Poirier, coming off the back of a loss. And don't get me wrong, this is the red panty party, isn't it, mate? This is Willy Wonka's golden ticket. You're fighting Conor McGregor. Not only is it the status of the name, but also the amount of eyeballs and coin that brings. We all know that it set Dustin Poirier up for life, fighting him on 2 of those 3 occasions. It's going to do the exact same thing for Michael Chandler. With all due respect to Chandler, when you think of the top contenders in the division, he's had a crack at the top spot, and he's fallen short against the elite lads, the likes of the Charles Oliveira's and the Islam Makhachev, those types of characters, right? So you've got to think to yourself, is he going to become world champion again? I would doubt that, and that's no disrespect to Michael Chandler. I would hold on. If I'm him, I would hold on. But he's not getting any younger, and it's a long time outside the octagon. He's got to fight, man. You're a long time retired, aren't you? Get back in there and fight. But I would understand the mentality of just trying to hold on to get himself the opportunity.
I mean, it really is that sweet spot. It's tricky, isn't it? Because it's like, you at that age, you've been out for a long time now. You know, Conor's not fought for a while. It's not like it's a guy that's been active and then he's just, you know, something's happened, and it's not really like one of them scenarios. It's a tough one for Michael Chandler, but I agree with you. You have to wait. You have to wait at this point. It's the biggest fight. It's the money ticket, isn't it? It's the red panty night, Adam. Like, they don't come around. They come around once in a lifetime. And I just hope
he'll kick himself. He'll kick himself if he takes another fight now, and then McGregor's ready to go September, let's say, and Chandler gets banged up in August in a tough fight that he comes through, and he's not fit. He picks up an injury. He'll kick himself, mate.
Yeah, I just hope it happens, Adam. I do, and it's one of them fights now that it's the perfect fight for both fighters. It's the perfect scenario for both fighters as well. I don't really see matchups right now that's any more adequate for them both. So, I mean, I just hope that whatever this is, hope it is a niggle, and I hope it's just not reached the point, you know, now where... Yeah, I just hope it's one of them ones, Adam, and my guess it'd be something to do with the old one, maybe, you know, something reoccurring. It was a nasty leg break, and they're hard to come back from. I wouldn't know personally, but looking from what happened and judging by Anderson Silva's comeback, and it's a difficult one.
It is, but typical UFC. I know that it took a little bit of time after the rumours of the injury was circulating, but they got it done. And they brought an unbelievable card for UFC 303. Main event's absolutely sensational. A rematch between Pereira and Prochazka. We've got a fantastic co-main event as Brian Ortega puts his hand in the sky to take on Diego Lopez, a rising star in the UFC, which we're all extremely excited about. I know that Jamal Hill's obviously gutted not to be on the card with his knee injury, but Anthony Smith, man, just keeps sticking his hand in the sky, doesn't he? And he's stepping up to fight Carlos Ulberg, who's on an unbelievable tear right now. And we've still got Ian Garry and Michael Venom Page.
Oh, yeah.
So 303 still looking good. But that main event, here's one for you, right? A couple of weeks ago, we were chatting about pound for pound number 1, weren't we? And obviously Dana White come out and he said, listen, whilst John Jones is on the planet and he's fighting, he's the pound for pound number 1. And I disagreed with it, and I said, listen, no, Islam Makhachev right now is doing the thing. He is the pound for pound number 1. However, Alex Pereira, 2.5 years in the UFC, 2-weight world champion, beaten 5 champions. He's now going back in with maybe the most dangerous guy in his division on 2 weeks' notice, mate. If he does the business here once again, does he take top spot?
Wow, what a question. Never even thought about that. It's a good question, though, and I just think we can never, ever overlook what John Jones has done in the octagon. And from my eyes, Adam, I know you think he is, by the way you put this across all the time, he ain't retired. he's not put the gloves down on the canvas yet. Like, he's still there or thereabouts. So while John Jones is alive, I'm going to agree with Dana White. While he's still breathing and his name's still on the roster,
yeah,
I'm going John Jones all day. Sorry.
But you've got to take your hat off to what Pereira's doing.
Of course you are.
2.5 years, 2 weights. He's absolutely mowing it.
I've never seen a trajectory like it. I really haven't. You know, he's got star power, the way he talks, stone cold, just, what, 2 weeks, let's go. Like, what a guy. And, you know, the stakes that are on the line for each one of these fights as well, main events in big cards, international, like, it's all, and he's just like, water off a duck's back to him, It's like he doesn't even have no in his vocabulary.
He is a phenomenal character, but also, so is Yuri Prochazka. A man that lives by the sword, dies by the sword. He's a geezer that has been out for a period of time. And let's not forget, he was the champion. He reneged that belt, went away for his major shoulder surgery. He came back against Pereira. Yes, he was beaten. But there's a lot of chat that maybe that fight ended slightly prematurely. I personally don't agree. I think it was a bang-on stoppage. But if you look at his fight since against Rakic, took a lot of punishment there, man. He got booted from pillar to post. Stayed in the fight and then got the job done. Mate, the samurai is coming. This is a hell of a fight.
I respect him. I respect him a lot, but I can just see this going one way. Let's be honest. Like, I'm being honest with this. I can see this going one-way traffic. I think Jerry took a lot of damage in that last fight. A lot of damage in that last fight. It's a big turnaround, short notice against this absolute giant of a man who is on a roll, and confidence breeds confidence, and he just looks like the man for the job to me. He really does.
Listen, it's a sensational main event at UFC 303. The rematch between Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka. The trajectory, as Brendan was just saying there, from Alex Pereira has been absolutely, truly sensational. There's some other news as well regarding fights that have fallen off that we're all gutted about, because the main event at UFC Saudi Arabia a week on Saturday was due to be Robert Whittaker against Khamzat Chimaev. A fantastic fight in the division, maybe propelling one of those guys as the contender to maybe fight the winner of Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya, but it's not to be for Khamzat Chimaev. 6th fight, 6th that has been scheduled for him that he's had to pull out from. Yes, he had a bad case of COVID, long COVID, with his back and forth with Leon Edwards. Are we going to see this fella in the octagon anytime soon? Because he seems to be having a lot of trouble outside in order to get his camp right to actually make the walk.
Yeah, it's been a rough ride for Khamzat, you know, after such a crazy start to the UFC, fight after fight after fight after fight, to having this many cancellations. You know, I do feel sorry for him. It's he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's got a full country behind him. You know, he's... I mean, I've been around him, Adam. Like, this guy is a superstar. Like, he can't take 2 steps. Like, when he's in Tiger or Bang Tower, any of these gyms, mate, honestly, he gets mobbed. It's a lot to take on, to coming from nothing and sleeping in a gym, to taking on these huge fights, and, you know, all the backlash that he must be receiving. And it's a tough out for Chimaev, and I just hope he gets it together. And I really hope we see that fight, because I was so excited for him to fight Whittaker. I was like, wow, what a fight that is. So I would love him to reschedule that, and I hope they do.
From a Robert Whittaker point of view, though, to accept Ikram Aliskerov on, what, a week, 10 days notice? Mate, I personally think, listen, Aliskerov, yes, he's only been here for 2 fights in the UFC, right? But you talk to people in the game, and they said, this guy might even be better than Khamzat. So for Robert Whittaker to be going, yeah, I'm in, mate, that just says everything you need to know about the Reaper.
I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing the same thing about this guy. And, you know, imagine taking on a guy like this who's unknown. At least with Khamzat, you're getting the star power. You're getting, I fought Khamzat Chimaev, win, lose or draw. You're taking on an unknown, savage,
unranked.
From the same region.
He's not even ranked. He's not even in the rankings, mate.
Robert, man. I love you, Robert Whittaker. We need more Robert Whittakers in the sport than we do. He's a legend of a man, in it. Like, it's crazy, like, because I think about 13, 14 years, what was I can't remember the exact days. I was actually on The Ultimate Fighter with Robert. Me and Robert, like, was chilling together on The Ultimate Fighter, the 2 young guns. And, like, to watch where he's come from there. We used to sit and have these conversations, me and him. It's nuts thinking about it now. 2012, Adam, to see where he is now and how far he's coming. To watch, to take that fight is 1% of fighters would have took that fight, Adam. Let me tell you, 1%. What a guy.
Especially with where he's currently sat in that division. Yeah. Okay, maybe Sean Strickland's making noise to try and get a shot at Dricus du Plessis, winner against Israel Adesanya. But Whittaker's there, man. He's right in the thick of it, isn't he, for a shot at a world title. And for him to take on Ikram Aliskerov, that's a pretty sensational piece of attitude. I think we should hear from him because he's been talking to talkSPORT throughout the course of the week, and he explained his mindset going into the fight, taking on Ikram Aliskerov at Saudi Arabia.
I definitely think the skill sets that I worked on with the idea of facing Chimaev, they're in the bank now. I think they're definitely transferable, not only to this fight, but for the rest of my career. I put in some really good work. But they're very different fighters. Their approach is very different. The way they strike is very different. So, yeah, it is a different fighter. It is a different fight. Some things that I was practicing with Chimaev are no longer relevant. But, mate, I'm sure there's no such thing as a wasted skill. So, yeah.
As ever, sounding top class, Robert Whittaker will be delivering June 22nd, Saudi Arabia against Ikram Aliskerov. You can watch the full interview on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. Make sure you go and check it out. The news hasn't stopped there because, of course, we're all excited about UFC 304. And then after that, it'll be Perth, UFC 305. And Dana White kind of dropped a few hints. Listen, there's no accidents with stuff like this. I reckon he was just trying to cause a little bit of stir because when he was announcing that Conor McGregor was out of UFC 303 and he was telling everybody about the rescheduling of that particular card, in the background of the war room, the schedule for UFC 305 was there. It's no coincidence that that video was shot in front of that. Let me tell you, everything is carefully thought out at the UFC. There was no accidents there. And they've given you that tickle. They've let you know that Israel Adesanya would be featuring at UFC 305. And then Izzy has taken to his own social media and he said, ladies and gentlemen, we are rocking and rolling. Perth, Australia is the destination. Dricus du Plessis is coming down under to defend his crown. And it's the fight that I think a lot of us have all been waiting for in this division, mate. There's been back and forth. There's a bit of nastiness between the pair of them. Izzy has taken some good time out. I've been happy with this, Brad. I don't know where you've been at with him. His activity levels were through the roof, and I commended him for it. Champion mindset. Every 3 to 4 months he was fighting, defending his belt. But the mental burnout, you could see it. You could start to see it, especially when he stepped in against Sean Strickland. I'm glad he's taken nearly a year off, and he's back now to hopefully give the best version of himself against Dricus du Plessis, because this could be an absolute cracking fight.
100%. And the backstory behind this is some deep stuff, this one. This ain't a game, this one. These two are really, really leaning on stuff here that is it's gonna cause a lot of controversy in this fight. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on it because of what they built up. I'm so happy Izzy finally took a break because, being active like that and having the level of stardom like Chimaev, there's only probably 5 or 6 guys on their level of stardom right now in the UFC. So these guys are dealing with a whole different type of ball game. Your Stricklands, your Izzy's, your John Joneses. There's a handful. Izzy's one of them. He's dealing with a lot. He's took some time away. He's built himself back up again. He's slowly got himself back into training, and what a fight that is. Exciting.
How impressed have you been with Dricus du Plessis since he popped into the UFC? I know that he's done it on that regional scene, hasn't he? He did it in South Africa. He went to KSW and he's done his thing. And obviously he had a couple. I think he's only had 7 fights. This is the thing. He's only had 7 fights and he's only been here for 4 years. And the lad's the world champion. And he's beaten the likes of Till, Brunson, Whittaker. He beat Robert Whittaker in sensational fashion. And then he's gone and he had a nip and tuck fight with Sean Strickland, but I personally thought that he just about nicked it to become champion. Yeah. How impressed have you been with him?
To be honest,
yeah, go on.
Not really. I think I don't know. I cornered Till against him, Adam, and I was there. I was an inch away from I was like, Till is so much better than this guy. And when I was watching the fight, I was thinking, he's got a real awkward style. that just makes stuff happen. But then he goes and does that to Whittaker. I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong. But then I watch it and it just looks awkward. It looks like a type of guy that just gets through fights. And I think if we get even a shade of the old Izzy, I think he walks through him on the right night. I really do. What's your thoughts?
It was the Whittaker fight, mate, that took my breath away with Dricus du Plessis. Yeah. So the second round against Till, I'm like, okay, we're here now because Till's starting to style off. I know that he's an elite striker, but then the gas maybe runs out a touch. And Dricus du Plessis, what has really impressed me is that he's a dog, man. He's prepared to go to some serious places to get the victory. He did that against Till. He did that against Brunson. The Robert Whittaker fight is the one where I've gone, okay, you're the real deal. Because Robert Whittaker is a sensational martial artist. He can grapple all day with the best grapplers in the world, and he's striking. Oh, mate, I could watch him strike all day long, mate. I think he's absolutely sensational. So for Dricus du Plessis to bulldoze him, and that's what he did. He rocked up and bulldozed him. Now, there is that element where maybe fans are watching me and you chat about it, and they're going, well, maybe Robert Whittaker thought about Dricus du Plessis like you thought about Dricus du Plessis pre-fight. Maybe he's just rocked up and goes, I'm just going to smash this guy to bits. Maybe there is an element of that. Yeah. I don't want to do Dricus any disservice because he went in and he smashed Robert Whittaker to bits that night. And it was a fantastic performance. And okay, it's nip and tuck with Sean Strickland. And we've been critical of Sean Strickland's style on this show, haven't we? You know what I mean? It shouldn't work. He's very far-footed. He stands in front of you, but he works, mate. And he became the champion. So Dricus, I think, has earned his stripes.
Yep.
Izzy is going to have to be at his very, very best. He's the best sniper in the division, in my opinion, is Israel Adesanya. Dricus, he's not going to have to go. The best thing about this from an Israel Adesanya point of view is that he's not going to have to go looking for him. Sometimes when Izzy's got to force a fight, it can be a little bit faint, not much is happening. Dricus is going to be there. He's going to be there, and there's going to be opportunities for Israel Adesanya to do Israel Adesanya things. But he's going to have to be brilliant because there's something about Dricus, man. He just won't get flushed. He's unreal.
He won't get flushed. That's a good one. But, no, listen, he keeps a very good, constant forward pressure that we see against Strickland. He's not afraid to take a few. He's not afraid to give one, take one to give two. He's very tough, and especially after the back and forth that's been going on leading up to this fight, he's going to come in double tough. Yeah. He's been very active. He's been. Bear in mind,
he's the champion going away from home as well, mate. Exactly. That says a lot about attitude, where he's at.
He's confident. He's a big lad for the weight. And I just, it's going to be interesting to see how Izzy comes back. It's going to be interesting to see, is that fire still there inside you? Is that fire in there? Because he's made a right few quid now. Superstar. Again, you got Dricus who's still hungry for it. So it's one of them. It's a great, very interesting one, that.
This is where greatness is made, though, mate, isn't it? You've had your bumps. You've had your knocks. We saw him bounce back against Pereira. We saw how he did that. That was fantastic. It wasn't the version of Israel Adesanya that we've all become used to against Sean Strickland. He's taken some time off. Pump the brakes a touch. Let's see. If the fire is burning again and he goes on another run, then all of a sudden Israel Adesanya starts to enter the GOAT chat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, mate, he was well on that trajectory for the GOAT chat, and then we had a few losses along the way. Sean Strickland went on, some off performances. And I believe he truly, truly needed this break. And I'm really excited to see him after this break. Let's see.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, if you believe everything that you saw in the War Room imagery, Song Yadong will be on this card as well. Jack Della Maddalena, Steve Erceg. Listen, all the usuals that you would probably expect to have been on this card, especially Della Maddalena and Erceg. Erceg was brilliant last time out, attempting to become world champion, just falling short. He's a real talent that I love watching fight. Let's flip this then and get stuck into a little bit of PFL. Obviously, you're not too far away from having your knock. But last week, it was all about Dakota Chiva for me, mate. Jeez, man. She is up there with some of the best female strikers on the planet. Young kid coming through, making her way, and she's lighting the place up.
She looks like a young Joanna Jędrzejczyk, doesn't she? You know, the way
Mate,
she comes forward
mate,
with that.
that's my favourite of all time. Don't be doing that
Mate.
to me. Don't be playing with my dreams.
Am I
She
lying
is that
though?
good. No, you're
And
not
she's
lying.
a mank. Do you know what I mean? Just to add a little bit more, just to put a bit more spice on there, yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. There's a clip, right? And we'll try and put it in here or I'll post it, right? When I fought in New York for my belt 2022, her and her family came for the pre-fight meal. She was on the undercard and I was doing my speech, you know, as you do before the fight. And I said, I'm about to be the first Mank World Champion tomorrow. And guess what? The second one sat over there. She's going to be the next one. And she's all red in the corner, Dakota. Absolutely sensational fighter. I'm actually a fan. I'm a fan.
Yeah, big fan.
Perfect technique, a clinch and knees. What about the body shots? The body shots are perfect. It's some of the cleanest striking you can see in MMA right now.
Just the way she carries herself, the way she speaks.
Yeah.
She's got it, man.
Superstar.
She's got it. Listen, there's going to be bumps. It's MMA, man. There's going to be some bumps. But this kid is going right to the top. I feel like I'm an old man saying, this kid. Listen, she's a well-rounded young woman doing what she's doing in the bloody smart cage, mate. I love watching her fight. Whenever I see her name down, I'm in straight away. Watching her do her thing. I think she's going right to the top.
What about imagining me and Dakota on the same card, 22nd in Saudi? That's what I'm hearing. Imagine that. Like, it's what the PFL needs, really, isn't it? It's like 2 UK ambassadors like me and Dakota flying the flag. 2 Mank ambassadors, might I add, yeah, like this. Look at them with the flag, knocking people out first round, like we're doing, yeah, getting them out of there, dispatching them. Like, that is what PFL, come on, the train's flying right now.
It is. It is. It is. It's on fire, mate. And obviously, next week, when you are over in the States, we'll be previewing your next escapade, which is coming up a week on Friday night. So a lot of people are extremely excited about that. This Friday night, Dublin is your destination for Bellator. And a little earlier on, I caught up with a young man called Nate the Great Kelly. He's making his way in MMA. Still amateur at the moment, looking to turn pro. This is what he had to say for himself. Nate, welcome to talkSPORT, mate. How are you? You well?
All good, Adam. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Mate, thank you so much for your time because I know it's a busy one. The journey is gaining some serious momentum. At the back end of last year, you were saying, listen, I'm going to try and get 3 or 4 in before we make that big jump and turn over to become a pro. Is that still the plan? Is that to get 4 amateur fights in this year before you make the leap in 2025?
Yeah, I think so. It's been good that I've had a quick turnaround after every single one. So it was December, March, and now June again. So I'm hoping that I can get out again in September maybe, and then after that start looking at the pro ranks and seeing what's happening. But I don't know. After this one, we'll see. I'm gonna sit down and talk to the guys and just see where we're at. And yeah, I'm hoping soon anyway. So I just want to get in there and get going. But we'll see. Everything can rush greatness. So we'll see what happens.
That's very true, my friend. But when you said that at the back end of last year, I went, do you know something? He's going to get itchy by about June, July. He's going to be thinking to himself, let's rock and roll. Because the platform that you're working on at the moment with the PFL, I mean, it's a fantastic apprenticeship if we can word it that way, where you're getting the opportunity to obviously still continue amateur MMA, but it's kind of on the professional scene. So you're getting used to auditoriums, big crowds, having your name on the ticket, all those types of things before you make the leap into pro MMA.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I kind of said after the first one in December. Is like, I know it's an amateur fight, but it's basically a professional fight, like, because people fight amateur like week in, week out, and nobody really cares about the result or what happens, and that's kind of what amateurs for. But I know if I go out there and I lose, like, it's gonna be all over Instagram, and this kid said that, and then it's gonna go nuts. So like, the consequences that I have of fighting amateur on this platform are huge, but also it's the back end of it is like the positivity that I get from it as well, and the experience and everything that I get to build up myself to take that jump to pro is amazing. But yeah, it's like I'm already fighting professional kind of like in some type of way, just a little bit different rule set, and it's just I think it's getting me itchier. I was already itching to go, but now I'm just like, oh, come on, get me in there, get going. I want to strap the 4 ounces on. I'm sick of these 6 and 7 ounces. So
For people that are unaware of the different rule sets, mate, just give them a brief explanation because there are some slight changes. You just mentioned gloves there, there's elbows and various things like that that you can and can't do in amateur MMA.
Yeah. So no knees to the head now, no elbows, and then shorter rounds, 3 minute rounds. So that's also what we're gonna get in there. I want to throw them elbows, get them knees going to the head. So I think my skill set will just be more open, and I'll be a better fighter when I go pro. Like I think that almost the amateur rule set holds me back a bit. I think when I have them less limitations on what I can do, I can really show every aspect of my game, yeah, for sure.
When do you turn 20? So it's not too far off, is it? Is it next month? Next month or so?
August. I'm turning 20, so
mate, that's the perfect time, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah.
20. Man strength comes in at 20, Nate. That's what it is, man. You can rock and roll
exactly.
at 20.
No, I think 20 will be the year that I'll be a professional for sure. Like I think if it's not this year, it'll be next year, but it'll be before I'm 21. So I think 20 is a good age, and it's a good time to get going. I feel like I'm ready. So it's all about what the boss says, what John says, what Dave says, and then, in my opinion, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's all about what they say, and if they say yes, then I'm ready to go. If they say no, then I'm ready to hold off as well. So I see what they say.
But it's going so well at the moment. Obviously, this partnership that you've got with the PFL, 2 in now, 2 good wins, and now steaming ahead towards Friday on this Bellator Night of Champions in Dublin as well, mate. That must get the hairs on the back of your neck going, mate.
I know, I'm so excited. Like this is the most excited I've ever been for a fight. I don't know what it is, but it's just like something just feels a bit different. I think the first time, because when I was fighting in the train arena, I was obviously like extremely nervous. It was the first time ever fighting in a big venue, first time fighting inside the train arena, and now it's like I'm familiar with it. I've done it all before. I've had 2 fights now with the PFL. I know what to expect, and it's like all that nervousness is kind of gone. And it's just turned into excitement, and I'm so excited to get back out there and to do what I do best. So
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm slightly disappointed that you've cut your hair, mate, because I was kind of getting used to the pigtail that you put on the old bonnet there, mate.
I know, yeah. For the last one as well, it was for the last one I would have been able to tie it up. But I said, you know what, I won't drag it out too long. It's just the first one I said I'll throw it back up, but I was thinking about going skinhead for this one. I was gonna join you, but
get one of mine, man. Get one of mine, bro. That's what you need to do.
I was thinking I was gonna go skinhead, but I said I have to keep a bit of hair here. I have to keep a bit of my identity, or I don't know, people probably won't be recognizing me anymore. So I said, get rid of the man bun, but I'll keep the hair.
The banter must be fierce, man, because listen, everybody remembers early doors when Conor was coming through. He had a couple of crazy haircuts in there. I think he went braids at one point. He had the little man bun at the top, little ponytail, and then obviously he settled into his own style. You've got to do that, mate. You've got to give him a little bit of something. It's the entertainment game, isn't it, at the end of the day?
I know, yeah. I'm still trying to find. I was gonna do cornrows for the last one. Actually, I was gonna braid it back or do something. But I don't know, like, because after the first one, John said to me, "I'm not tying it up anymore." He said, "If it falls out in between rounds, I don't know how to do a bob and tie your hair back up." So I was like, "All right, so I might do cornrows, but I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. I just gonna keep it simple, and then I might still shave. I have a haircut booked tomorrow, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might just shave it off. I'll see what happens.
But for those that don't know too much about you, the person that you're referring to there is John Kavanagh. Obviously, John and Conor had a wonderful partnership on their rise through and what have you. You've been with SPG. How long is it now? It's bloody hell, it's a long time, isn't it?
It'll be 14 years this year.
There you go.
Yeah, 14 years.
So since a young whippersnapper, you've been in there on those particular mats. I know that you obviously frequent other gyms as well for different disciplines and what have you. But the partnership now that you've got with John and the guys at SPG really is starting to bear the fruit of which everybody's starting to see in the PFL.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's being able to be training with John and the guys in SPG since a young age. It's just stood to me, and like you kind of just see the progress and everything that I've taken, the leaps that I've taken since I've started training with the pro team. Like it's been nuts, and to have John in your corner for every fight, it's crazy. I think it's almost like, when you see coaches walking out with a fighter and people kind of get intimidated. I think when guys see John and Dave and everybody in the corner, they get a bit freaked out. It's crazy to be able to have him by my side on this journey. And since a young kid, 7 years of age, I've came up in SPG all the way through the ranks, from the kids program, the very first kids program, now to training with the pro team and fighting on a big stage. It's mad to see the progress. And as you said, John's been there every step of the way, and he's really helped develop my game and develop me as a person. So
I know that obviously you've got a wonderful relationship with Conor, and I know it's not necessarily worked out to plan with obviously him being injured at the moment. But that must be nice as well. Kind of having your camp, his camp, in and out with John and rubbing in and just everything being around at the same time for a young man that obviously was a fan of his coming through. That must be some buzz, that, mate.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like this whole camp has been basically the same time as his camp. So obviously, unfortunately, he got injured and can't compete. But like the whole camp, he was in the gym and training. It's just a different buzz like going on when he's in training and everybody's around. And it was just a great buzz. Like and that, it's been like that the whole camp. And like him been in the gym consistently, obviously because he was traveling so much, and now he was in the gym consistently, and we were chatting and talking and training and everything. It was amazing buzz to be in and around that and to see. Obviously, have my training camp going on, his on the same time, and everything it was a great buzz in the gym for the last few weeks. And obviously, unfortunately, he's not competing, but yeah, it was amazing buzz. There's the dog trying to get in there.
No, you do. Listen, when you're around someone like Conor and that level of fighter, there's someone that has achieved so much, and you get to watch them train, prepare, even just display some of those skills. Just for you as a young man starting out that career, you're probably watching that from the sidelines going, oh, right, okay, he does that. He moves his feet that way. He does X, Y, and Z. I'll try and implement that myself the day after. You know what I mean? Learn some. The knowledge that is in that SBG gym is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say is like that Conor laid out a blueprint. Do you know what I mean? Like I've heard a few people saying like fighting is easy, MMA is easy. It's obviously not easy, but like the steps that you need to take to get where you want to go are easy. Like you just need to show up every day, be consistent in your training, do the right things outside the gym. And I've been ticking every box, and I've been doing that for a long time now. And I think that's just kind of it's coming to fruition, and people are kind of seeing the results of my hard work. But being around Conor, being around the guys in the gym, these high level pros, and seeing what they do in day out, inside the gym, outside the gym, and being able to take that in my own life from a very early age has been amazing. It's helped me all the way through. So,
mate, I could tell. Listen, you're 19 years of age. I could tell with the way that you're dealing with media, the way that you're operating. Obviously, all that is starting to rub off, and it's starting to pay dividend as well once you step through those the door on a Friday evening. Can I talk about the rest of the card, mate? Because it's quite a good card. It's an incredibly exciting card. Paul Hughes, Bobby King, great fight. A lot of people extremely excited about that. Peter Queally, with all due respect to everybody else in Ireland, one of the greatest walkouts. It's a sensational walkout. You've got to be there to witness a Peter Queally walkout. He's taking on Yancy Medeiros. You've got Nathan Kelly as well, also in action too, mate. It's stacked from top to bottom.
Yeah, no, it is a stack. Literally, I'm starting the card, and then all the way up, it's stacked from top to bottom. So I'm ready to get the party started. First fight in. I think Nathan's third fight. So literally from the first fight to the last year, stacked with great fights. So urge people to get in early. It's on a Saturday, so you can get in early. Nobody's in work. Get in early about 6 o'clock. Witness me first, and then stay for the whole card, and it's going to be a great night. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
I'm just trying to count down this list. How many SBG fighters are there this weekend? It's there's quite a few in there, mate.
I think four or five. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Again, that's another great thing, isn't it? When you've got guys and girls coming out the same gym, training on the same schedule, you know, you're not always going to have red hot days. There's going to be a day in that training camp where you think, oh, I'm feeling a bit down today, all right, or the energy's not there. But then you see 3 of your mates that are doing the thing. Then all of a sudden you go, well, hang on a minute, they're going, I've got to go. So
exactly.
That iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Being around the guys in the training camp, like, you know, sharing the card, I've shared the card with load the guys all the way from my first event with the PFL up until now. And it's like, as you said, you're in the gym, you see them training hard, a bit hard, you're like, oh, maybe I should be doing this or doing that. And then being able to be around them on fight week and on fight day and everything. And it's obviously because I'm obviously just new to this now, and to have my teammates there around me and be able to train with them and then walk out to the venue with them and be at the weigh-ins, everything. It's a big help, and I'm very grateful that I get to share the card with so many great fighters and SPG. So.
And as you've said, kicking off, are we changing the tune up this week, or are we going same as usual?
No, we changed it up. I'm going for 50 Cent, Many Men. So,
mate, look at you.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a bit true. You know? Many men want me head, so I said I'll come out to it and play up to it a little bit, and so it'll be a good one. I get to play going.
Mate, cannot wait for it. Listen, sensational. Mate, always a pleasure to speak to you. I love watching you fight, especially on this journey, because there's going to be a point in the next 6 months or so where you're going to make the call and you're going to go, right, go on then, we're having it. Let's go pro. And it's nice for people to be able to have seen the journey pre and what it's going to go on to become, mate. Keep working on, my man. I'm looking forward to see you do your thing Friday night.
Thanks very much, Adam. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
There you go. That's this Friday in Dublin. If you're going down, absolutely get there nice and early to see Nate do his thing. Not to be confused with Nathan Kelly. There's two Nate Kellys fighting on the card on Friday. Nathan's a pro and he'll be doing his thing on that card as well. All action packed, lots of British and Irish interest in Dublin on Friday night. And speaking of British and Irish interest, this man will be doing his thing a week on Friday night over in the States. You flying out today, is it, mate? Where'd you go?
Flying tomorrow. Can I just add another perfect camp completed? God bless me, because it's not often, like we're seeing with all these pullouts in the UFC.
Of course.
It's not often you get these healthy camps, so I'm very thankful and grateful. If you want to watch me, tune in next Friday, The Zone. I'm guessing it's around 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock, because I'll put the official time out, but I am main event.
You'll be doing the show next week. We've got one more show to do before you fight, mate. You can preview it next week.
Okay.
Listen, just because your name's on the till, it's not all about you, son. All right, there's other fighters to talk about.
I was about to sell the fight there, but he's rudely interrupted, so I'll wait till next week. You just missed my promo. I was about to cut a big one.
Go on, give it the big Chandler WWE.
We'll save it for next week, though, Adam. No, it's all right, mate.
All right, lad. Nice one. Listen, safe flights. I know it's a long one from Thailand to where you're going, mate, and there's loads of junctions and what have you to get yourself there, get yourself acclimatized, get yourself ready to rock and roll. Listen, the first fight was a dream. This one, I know how much graft you've put into it. I'm looking forward to seeing you do your thing a week on Friday, but we'll speak next week, so we'll get a full preview of that. All right, mate?
Top man.
There you go. Top stuff. For everybody else, make sure you subscribe to the channel so therefore you don't miss out on his preview, his fight next week. We'll also be getting stuck into all things UFC Saudi Arabia as Robert Whittaker takes on Ikram Aliskerov. And, of course, we'll start to build up towards UFC 303 with Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka doing that main event, which we're all extremely excited about. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.